If your kitchen design process starts from zero every single time, this workflow is going to change the way you design. As an interior designer, you know that every project is unique. But when it comes to kitchen design, it often means redrawing similar layouts, cabinetry units, and design details over and over again. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to build a better, faster kitchen design workflow by turning your drawings into reusable resources. We'll focus on creating adaptable templates and using CAD blocks that you can easily customize for each client, so your work compounds over time. I'm going to be demonstrating this workflow using Rayon Design, where I will walk you through importing a DWG file, designing a kitchen layout, using detailed cabinetry, applying materials, and building mood boards, all in one place. And as the cherry on top, we'll also use AI to speed up the creative process and client presentation quality. You can create a free Rayon account using the link below to follow along and start building your own kitchen template. You will also be able to access the ready-made templates that I will be using in this tutorial. Let's go ahead and get started. Whether you are renovating an existing kitchen or constructing a new one, you're typically going to start by importing a DWG file of the project that you're working on. So in order to show you my design kitchen template and resources, let's go together through a realistic step-by-step process where we import the DWG, then we're gonna edit and redesign the kitchen space before we start on the kitchen layout, cabinetry, and millwork details. So I'm just in a blank new project here in Rayon, and I'll show you how to go ahead and start by importing a DWG file that I already have on hand. So over here in the little hamburger menu, we're gonna go to import and then we'll say DWG. And I'm just gonna go search for my DWG file, which is this kitchen DWG, and I'll say open. And then it's gonna just ask me a few questions about some layer stuff. I'm gonna just go ahead and import as is. So I'll just click the import button. And it's gonna come in looking something like this. It will obviously look different depending on what kind of layers and details you have set up in your DWG, but this is what this one looks like. So this says draw a line by clicking on 2 points. So let's just click on 2 points. Usually I'll select a door because I typically know the size of that. So here it's confirming that this opening is 100 centimeters. So I'm gonna say continue. That way it just makes sure that it is imported to the right scale. I can just go ahead and pick an insertion place and I'm just gonna click and it's gonna show up right here. And again, it should be to scale. If I go grab this dimension down here and dimension this, 3 foot, 3.5 inches, that sounds right. That's about 100 centimeters. So that looks good. So just to give you a little bit of context on this project, this is a renovation project where the apartment is being enlarged and the small kitchen and living area over here are being divided. So you have the choice to either work with the vector lines that come in from CAD. You can see that everything, all of the hatches and everything kind of come in editable, but a little bit maybe more difficult to work with. So if we go over to our layers panel, you can also see that it will bring in all of the native layers from your AutoCAD file, which is really helpful. I personally would recommend to retrace certain items, like specifically the walls in Rayon. So that way, if I grab my wall tool down here and show you just how these kind of move as opposed to these vector lines. So if I'm trying to move this wall here, there's quite a bit of information that I need to grab to actually move it. Whereas here, I can just select the wall and move the wall. So my recommendation would be to maybe grab all of this and lock it in place. So over here, we will just say lock, and then you can grab your wall tool and start tracing as needed. You can see here when I hit enter, I've got walls here now that I will be able to easily move and adjust with the project. Like I said, we're enlarging this kitchen, so it will be important to be able to move the walls easily. So we can see over here in the layers panel that we actually have all of the walls on one layer. So those can easily be turned off. And again, we can just grab our wall tool and even create a new layer. So we can say, Rayon walls, and then make sure that we're working on that layer. And again, just grab our wall tool down here, which is right here, and just kind of start clicking on, I like to do all of the interior points of the wall, and you can just kind of keep clicking your points, and then eventually Don't worry about the openings at this point because those we can just kind of like inset into the wall. So again, I'm just kind of guessing right now. We can easily move these so I don't have to be like too particular with where I'm placing them, but let's see here if we do that. Now if I turn off my walls, you can see that I have all rayon walls now. So I can like easily move that. I can easily extend different areas. If we need to change the size, we can just create a new style. So for instance, this outer wall was a little bit thicker. So maybe that wall is 15 inches. And again, I'm gonna turn off the walls here so we can see that. And so now you can see that that wall is thicker. And if I like that style and I wanna save that style and use that style again, then I can just hit this little plus button and say save style, and this will just be like thick exterior wall, or you know, something more sophisticated than that. And of course you can change the style here, so we can fill it with either a color or a hatch or you know, whatever you want. I usually like to do like a color to start with, just so I can kind of see it as I'm building it. Then you would just kind of rinse and repeat that process for all of the other walls here. So I'm gonna turn it back on. This wall looks like it's maybe supposed to be 8 inches, so we can change that to 8 inches. And again, we're gonna save that, and I'm gonna just call it 8-inch exterior wall. We'll change the color to red as well. And now what we can do is just reuse that style. I know that I want this wall to match this wall, so I can just grab my little eyedropper pick style and just say pick style, and then it's going to match that. So I can continue that. If I know that, for instance, maybe one of the walls over here was supposed to be that thicker wall, I can just grab this little pick style, and then so on and so forth. So it's really easy to start building your parametric walls, and that's why I suggest going that route instead of working with the vector lines, because it just ends up being a lot easier. After some tracing and detailing, your model might look like this. So now everything is basically a rayon wall, a rayon block, which we'll talk about in a minute. And you can see that we have the kitchen and living room space is empty because that is what we're going to be editing. Now, before I get into kind of redesigning that space, let me just show you really quick how you can add a couple of these details that you see here. Really, the main thing that I want to show you is how to add in some zones and styles to kind of start stylizing your space like this. Like you can see that we've got kind of this wood floor indication here, so I want to show you how you can easily create that. And again, having all of the like rayon components in here just makes it all easy to understand boundaries and where that zone ends and all that good stuff. So if I just delete what we have here, I will go ahead and show you how to add in some like texture to each room. Texture, zone indication, flooring type, whatever you want to call it. So down here, we're going to grab the zone tool. And when you grab the zone tool, you'll see that when you highlight over different spaces, it's going to start recognizing those as a space. So I am going to click in here, and you can see that it automatically added a hatch, and it called it zone 6. Right? So now if I want to modify that even further, I can come over here into my styles and just click right here. And let's just say that we want to add a realistic texture here. So if we go to texture right here and go here, now we can actually select if there's like a wood floor in here that we like. We can select that wood floor, and then it's going to populate the floor with that wood texture, which again, like you can go hyper realistic, you could go a little bit more graphical. It's just whatever kind of style you're going for. Now, if the size is wrong, you can just click transform here, and maybe we'll scale that. Maybe we'll double the size, and then maybe we want to rotate it 90 degrees. And okay, maybe 2.0 is too much. Maybe 1.5 here. If you want to, you know, adjust the opacity a little bit, maybe it's a little bit too in your face, you can do that here. There's just all kinds of stuff that you can do with it. So that's how you can get that texture here. Now, if you want to rename this area, if you don't want it to say zone 6, you just select on the zone that we just created, and over here you can rename it. So we can say like guest bed or something like that, and it will update that over here. Now, if you want to edit the boundaries of this, like for instance, it kind of included this storage area over here as well. We can just click on the zone again and go to edit, and then you just want to basically move these vertices so they do not land in the storage room. So the styles are really where you can just kind of start to have fun with stylizing this plan, but let's get to the kitchen design portion of this tutorial because that's what you came for. So we've obviously got this empty space over here, so I just kind of kept this space clear. And like I mentioned, we are going to enlarge the space. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this wall down here and we'll just kind of move that until we feel fit. Again, you can move any of the walls really, like this one you can move as well. It looks like there's some other kind of details here that might need to move too, which is fine. I'm gonna just leave that wall where it is and just kind of adjust this wall down here. Now, once we have this nice open area, that's when we can look into our kitchen layouts in our template, which can just be an easy copy paste situation. So this is where we're gonna go ahead and grab some different layouts from a template that I have already created and used from past projects. So that way it's easy enough to just kind of copy paste in here and easily just start outfitting some things without actually doing a ton of the work. So let's go over into my kitchen template. And again, this is just a template that's been created from past projects, just easy copy paste things that make the process on future projects a lot easier because there are a lot of details that get reused. So over here, you'll see that there are a couple different canvases. So let's just run through those real quick. Again, this is just a template that I just keep open or have handy whenever I am designing a kitchen specifically. These are all different kitchen layouts. And just to kind of run you through some of these, we've got like a small double galley kitchen, we've got medium L-shaped kitchen, outdoor kitchen, again, L-shaped kitchen, medium one row with an island. So again, these are all just kind of like here and available to copy paste into my projects and completely editable, right? Like this is not going to fit every project, but we can easily get started with this instead of drawing from scratch. This first canvas is basically the layouts. The next canvas is more like design details. So this is like lighting and handle poles. Again, these are just completely like copy paste into new projects. We've also got like a lot of like inspiration and spec details. Down here in the next canvas, this is actually the working model canvas for those lighting and handle details. So these are more like you can actually grab and adjust parametric parts of these designs, whereas up here, this is more like the presentation look of it. So moving down, we also have some mood board options here. So again, instead of like going to Pinterest every time that you're designing, I've got like a couple different styles set up here. So if I know that the client, you know, likes a specific type of design, I can just copy and paste this mood board just to get me started. Some of these items might change, right? But at least it's a good start. And then lastly, we have our kitchen presentation template, which I'll show you this at the end. So this is just like a good starter kit for a presentation. So obviously like all of your details and images are going to look different each time, but at least this is a start. So now that we kind of understand the structure of this template here, I'm going to move into the kitchen layouts and we're just going to grab a couple different ones and try to fit them into our kitchen. So the first one that I want to try here is this L-shaped kitchen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this and say copy as export and then go back into my working file here and I'm just going to say paste. And so that's going to come in and we're going to see that that probably isn't going to work, right? Because we've got like a door here. So even though it almost works with the space that we have, it doesn't quite work with the layout of the space. I can also kind of rotate it and see if we can adjust it. So there's definitely an opportunity to maybe take out one of these cabinets and adjust some things that way, but I'm not really feeling this one. So I'm just going to delete that and we'll go back to our template and see if there's another one that we can try. But back in the template here, let's go ahead and try another one. This small U-shaped kitchen looks kind of cool. So I'm going to just copy it and then copy as export and go back into my model and we'll say paste and then it will come in and again we can kind of like rotate it and see if it fits in our space. It could potentially fit in the space if we adjusted the walls a little bit. But again, I don't really know if this is perfect for the space. I think that we just kind of need like one row of cabinets. So I'm going to delete that and let's go see if we have a good one row layout in our kitchen file. Right here, we've got this medium one row with the island. So this looks like it might be a little bit too big, but we could easily adjust that. So I'm gonna just go ahead and copy all of this. And the nice thing too is that in this template, I already have sections and elevations started for these as well. You know, if I take out a cabinet here, I'm gonna have to take out a cabinet in the section as well, but it's way better than drawing from scratch. So I'm gonna right click and copy as export, and we'll go back into our model and we'll say paste. And obviously we can see that it's a little bit too big, but I do like the layout in this kitchen. So let's go ahead and use it. What I'm gonna first do is put that to the side and let's lock everything here. So I'm just gonna select everything and say lock, because when I'm moving this, when I'm adjusting this, I don't wanna adjust everything else in here. So let's just go ahead and place that in the corner here. I don't know if that's gonna work with the door here, but we can also move that door. So let's just like delete some of this. And you can see that it's nice that everything else is locked because I want to just be able to easily adjust all of this. And you can see how easy it is to adjust. So it looks like we've kind of got this wall sorted out. I also am thinking maybe we just kind of like mirror this. So let's try to flip horizontally. And yeah, I feel like that works a lot better with the door there. Now we don't have to move the door necessarily. We can also just kind of like shift this over here, and I feel like that's working a lot better already. Obviously this does not work, but I'm gonna try to still use the table. Let's just move that off to the side. The island, I feel like actually works pretty well. There are a couple of dimensions that I'm just gonna delete here because they're just kind of getting in the way, and we can always re-add those later. They're just kind of like different details that came over from the template that I had before. So once that feels good, now I'm gonna try to fit this table in here. Maybe I wanna rotate it, and you know, it might be a little bit too big. Maybe we end up extending this wall a little bit more. So now that I feel okay with where I've got this stuff, I'm gonna right click and unlock all. And this way I can start adjusting that wall again. So let's move this stuff down. And let's just move this wall until we're able to fit this in here pretty nicely. So I actually kind of like that because it gives it like a little bit of its own nook. You could also, of course, rotate it and just kind of keep it there. I think that's starting to look pretty good. So as you can see, we just basically created this kitchen layout in like less than a minute, using details that we already had and just easily adjusting them based on what we already had. So as you can see here, this table and chairs that came in is actually a block. And you know, this came in from the layout that I already had, but Rayon also has a ton of other CAD blocks, 10,000 plus to be exact. And they are all in top, front, and side views. So you can use them for your sections, your elevations, all that kind of good stuff. And you can find all those over here in the blocks. I'm gonna just go to libraries, and then there is a whole list of libraries and blocks that you can access in here. Lots of basic blocks, lots of more intricate blocks. And then like when I click on this, if I say open, you'll see that there are 3 different views of each block. So if we go back to the template that I had, so you can see here, like this table, it has multiple different views from different sides and all that good stuff. So again, those are not just in the template, there's a ton more over here. So if you know the table that you import doesn't work with what you're working with, you can always find something different over here, just using your little search bar or using these categories that they already have here. Now they also have parametric blocks, which I can show you look a little bit different than a block like this. So if you want to find a parametric block, all you need to do is go to the blocks and then add a filter here. So under these little 3 bars, I just add a filter and say is parametric and hit save. And then what's going to come up, you'll see all of these have this little thing that say parametric on them. And let me just show you what that means. So I've got this table here that you can see looks a little bit different than the table here. And the main difference that you'll see is that there are these little arrows that can go either way. And what happens is when I extend or scale this non-parametric block, it obviously kind of stretches it. Whereas over here on the parametric block, if I extend it, it just adds seats and it adds everything to scale. So like this way is just going to basically stretch the table. This way is actually going to add more seats to the table. So there are tons of different parametric blocks like that that kind of scale parametrically, and those can be super useful as well. Now, one last place that I want to talk about blocks is the AI panel. So over here in this AI chat, you can actually have Rayon create a CAD block for you. And there are a couple different ways to do that. So let's say, for instance, that I have an image of a chair that I want as a CAD block. So all I need to do over here in the AI panel is tell it to use the selected image. And then under tools right here, I can just say, turn a product image or single prompt into a CAD block. So I'm gonna just click that. And then we'll say go. And that way I don't even have to prompt it to do anything. It's basically just like a preloaded tool that's telling the AI tool, you know, I want a CAD block from this chair. Now, I already had this chair in here, but if there was, you know, a mood board or something else in here that you just wanted to take a screenshot of, you can always go right here to the plus sign and say add screenshot, and then take a screenshot of that item, and then it will use that in here as well. And again, you can use your tools to generate whatever you're looking for that image. As we can see here, it has generated a top and 2 side views of this chair. So if we just say, you know, insert, you can see that it just inserts that really accurate and scaled proportionately chair into our model. So that's just an easy way that you can incorporate AI into the blocks in designing the layout of your kitchen space. And now you can actually transform any model into a template or a block or style library just using this share button up here. So for instance, if you have a model that has like a ton of different styles that you created and you want to reuse those, all you need to do is just go up to this share button and you can just go to libraries and publish either as a style or a block library. So for instance, if I like all the styles in here, I can publish that as a style library, and then what's going to happen is that's going to show up as an option to import into your future projects. You can also publish it as a block library, or go to this template right here and publish as a template, and then again, you'll be able to reuse that stuff for a future project. As we saw up until now, having a template at our fingertips made the process of laying out and redesigning so much faster. And as we did for the floor plans, we can copy sections, elevations, millwork drawings, and details and adjust them according to the layout changes that we made. So now that the drawing process is clear, I'd love to show you 2 more time savers that will also help your drawings look more impressive and expressive. Let's start with how you can use AI to extract more value from your drawings in just a few clicks. So we've kind of touched a little bit on the AI panel, but let's talk a little bit more about how it can help streamline your kitchen design. So Rayon's AI panel is going to help you design, visualize, and refine your projects faster than ever, from generating axonometric views to creating custom CAD blocks, which we just did, producing 3D renderings that look realistic, and even replacing furniture or materials. There are like endless prompts that are going to save you hours and unlock new creative possibilities. This is so powerful, especially during the initial design phase when you want to present clients with various options before fully committing and diving into shop drawings for execution. So let's go ahead and explore how we can bring a new floor plan to life by creating a 3D axonometric view and applying our mood board material choices with just a few prompts. I want to first ask this AI panel to generate a 3D axonometric view from the floor plan that we just created. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, and then we're going to ask it to apply a clay style, and we'll then ask it to apply some materials. So bear with me here. It's going to be like a couple step process. So first I want to show the AI panel what I want to create a 3D axon of. So I'm just going to go to the plus button down here. Again, we are in the AI panel, and I'm going to say add screenshot, and we will just take a screenshot of the kitchen right here. And so now it knows what we're using, and then I'm going to go to tools, and we'll say create an axonometric view from the scene's floor plan or selection. So I'm going to click on that. Again, I don't have to tell it to do anything. I just hit send, and it's going to do its magic. Now, while that's thinking, I'm going to go back to my template, and I'm actually going to grab a mood board here because eventually I want to add some different materials to the kitchen because it's probably just going to like guess at this point. Let's go ahead and grab this one, and we're just going to again, copy as export and go back to our model. And then I'm gonna say paste, and that way we'll have that available to tell the AI to use for applying materials. Okay, so over here we can see that it's got a generated preview of our axon. So it looks pretty accurate. It looks like it maybe added like a little bit of a closet over here, which is not so accurate. But as far as like the table and chairs and island and everything, like that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert the image. And once I do that, now what I can do is select the image, and we're gonna say use selected image. And then we're gonna say tools, and we're gonna stylize. So let's stylize it as a clay model, and that way it's just gonna like strip all the materials and it'll just be like nice and gray. So I'm gonna say clay model, and we'll hit send, and it will basically generate a whole other axon. Now, if you're not happy with the axon that it generated originally, you can try to refine a prompt, or maybe even, you know, copy and paste this into another like area of your model canvas, so that way it doesn't try to look at the closet and stuff like that, because it looks like it misinterpreted that. So if we scroll down here, it looks like we've got a nice clay model. Again, we can preview it before we bring it in, but that looks good to me. So I'm gonna say insert image, and again, I'm just kind of like dropping these in my canvas. That looks good. So now what I want to do is I want to tell it to basically apply these materials to the axon. So I'm going to take a screenshot. So let's go add screenshot, take a screenshot of the mood board, and then let's also use selected image. So now it sees the mood board as well as the clay model, and I'm going to just prompt it to add mood board materials to the 3D axonometric. And we'll go send and see what it can come up with. Okay, so over here we can hit preview and see what it did. Obviously, it took into effect the green cabinets and like the wood materials and everything. It changed the axon a little bit, but it's honestly like pretty good for intent. So if you like that, you can say insert. And again, just place it here. If you don't like it, then again, you can just continue to prompt it. You could also try grabbing this other axon that we had and grabbing the mood board and trying to apply the mood board to that axon. It's just all about experimenting with AI, right? Because you never know if you're gonna get the right thing. But there you go, and this is gonna make your design intent so much clearer to clients. But now let's go ahead and take a look at how it all comes together in the final part, where we're gonna set up our client presentation. If you don't already know, Rayon is a one-stop shop to go all the way from concept design to construction drawings and client presentations, and you can easily use paper canvases and model canvases to set up your drawings and always have those like up-to-date drawings represented in your documentation. So let's go ahead and dive in and see how. So we're gonna go back into our template that we have. So back into our template, this is where we're gonna use that paper canvas kitchen template situation. And all we're gonna do is just basically window over that whole thing and copy as export. We'll go back to our model, and over here in layers, we're gonna go to our paper canvas. And so the paper canvas is basically just like where you present things. The model canvas is kind of where you work. So I don't need to create a page because I'm just going to right click and say paste. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna bring in all of that presentation ready template stuff that I already had. Now you'll see that some stuff is missing because we have to add drawings to the presentation papers. But since we already have all this stuff here, it's easy to adjust, right? So, you know, maybe if we don't want to use necessarily this mood board, we can delete that and go back into our model canvas, and let's copy this mood board instead and go back to our paper canvas and do a little bit of rescaling. Then you can just kind of like start making this fit the project that you're working on. So, you know, that mood board is a little bit more accurate. Maybe some of these inspo images change. And then of course we need to add in our drawing, we'll add in our axon, and then I'll show you how to share this. So I'll go ahead and delete some of the stuff that we have here that we don't need and show you how to add a view onto this presentation paper. So we'll go ahead and click plus. We'll go to view and we'll say from model canvas, and basically what that's going to do is that's going to just place a view on here coming straight from the model canvas. Now if you need to expand this a little bit, you can just hold down your command key, and let's just make this a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on. Now obviously we have to rescale this, so let's go ahead over here under scale and we'll just do like a 1:50 scale and place it on our canvas. And again, if we want to reel this in a little bit, just hold down your command key. I'm going to just try to get it as tight to the floor plan as possible. Now, if it's still not fitting, you can see that some of our stuff in here is not really working with the space. I'm gonna just pop back over to our model canvas and move some of that. So that way, now when I go into our paper canvas, you can see that it fits nice and perfectly. That's how you add a view to your canvas. Now, again, if we want to, maybe replace this down here, let's go ahead and delete. And we'll again add you can either add a view from the model canvas, or you could just go back into our model canvas and copy paste that image. So back into my paper canvas, and copy paste this new axon that I have. Then we can use, some of our annotation tools to start calling things out or identify some materials. So, you could go back up here and call out some of this stuff. Now we might also want to bring in an elevation of the kitchen. So if we go back to our model canvas and then actually back to our template, let's go grab the elevation for that space. So this will have to be modified, but just to show you how we can do this, we'll copy it, copy as export, go back into our model, paste, and then it's gonna come in. I usually like to place it near the floor plan version of it so I can adjust it as needed. But if you'll remember, we did a little flip horizontally. So we've got our refrigerator, we did move our sink. So again, you'll have to adjust some of this stuff in elevation as well, but I know that we got rid of that over there, so we can delete that. We might have gotten rid of that too, I can't remember. But once you have that looking how you want it to, now if we go back to our paper canvas, and again, I'm just gonna delete these just so there's some clean space here. And then again, we just add a view from our model canvas, and now we've got our elevation. Again, we want to scale it. So if we click it and go to 1:50, which that might be a little bit too small, maybe we do 1:25. And now we've got the elevation. And so again, you can do call outs, you can call out colors, materials, whatever. But that is how you start kind of connecting those pieces from page to page. And same goes for any of those design details. So back into our template, if there are some section cut throughs here that you want to use, again, we'll just copy those, copy as export, go back to our model, and then in our model canvas, I'm just going to paste them. And now we have those as well. And in our paper canvas, if we want to use those, I might just, let's see here, I might put this up here and then extend that. You can obviously lay it out however you see fit or at whatever scale you need to, but now you've got those sections already created. I literally just copy pasted those into this project. I didn't have to do any extra modeling or extra work. Now, if you are working as a team, you should know that you can easily work together in real time in Rayon and just invite teammates. So up here in the share button, you can just easily give someone access, putting their email in here, make them an editor, a viewer, admin, all that. But what I really love is that you can actually share your presentations as a URL link with clients. So under the presentation right here, you can just say publish as presentation. And then when you go copy this link and go into a new tab, this is what is going to look like when the client opens the link. So it's in true presentation view, right? So our title page, and then you can kind of just click through the next button and the next button and see the different mood board. And now you can see our plan that we created. So that's probably one of my favorite features is that it just already makes it into a presentation. You don't have to like export it as a PDF and then email it. It's just URL link just lives in the web. Now, if you did want to create a PDF, that's also easy. All you do over here is go to your hamburger menu, export PDF, and then you can select all of your pages, one of your pages, whatever you want. And there you have it. That's the full workflow. Today we covered how to design with a system where you can stop redrawing the same layouts, cabinetry, and details, and instead build a design library that grows with every project. By combining reusable layouts, CAD blocks, and details inside a single template, you can move faster in that early design phase, communicate more clearly with clients, and produce documents with far less friction. The more you design, the more powerful your workflow becomes. My recommendation is to start small. You can turn one of your past projects into a template, save your most used details, and begin compounding your work instead of starting from zero. Again, you can create a free Rayon account using the link below, and go ahead and duplicate the templates from today's practice and adapt them to your own design projects. Thanks for designing with me today. I will see you in the next tutorial.